Hello everybody, this is Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, bringing you another third-party review. This time I'm going to bring you a review of the Fans Toys Rouge, not Rogue, Rouge. Like seriously, there's a difference in spelling between them. And we're all smart enough to figure it out. Rouge. Which is defined as kind of a light red, or I don't know, maybe pink. Anyhow, Rouge. This is Fans Toys' take on RC. It's not really RC, it's Rouge, you know. There's a big difference, huge difference, phenomenal difference. 31 QC. Gotta get that most important part right there. But there's some things that I really like about this figure and some things that I really don't like about this figure. The spoiler alert is basically it's what you would expect out of a third party, out of a Fans Toys figure, which is to say the robot mode looks great, the alt mode is going to look great, and the transformation sucks ass. So let's get into this real quick. In terms of looks, I think that this figure looks really well. Like everything is all sleek, and I mean you've got this here and some extra kibbly parts in here, but it's all really like, I mean, this is what's supposed to be here. Maybe slightly larger than what it was in like the movie or whatnot, but I mean it's all how it's supposed to be. And this is, you know, it's tucked away really well. I think that it looks fantastic. Some people have complained about this gap here or whatnot. I mean, it's a Transformer. We overlook all sorts of things when it comes to Transformers. We overlook, oh look, there's gaps in here. Oh look, there's gaps in here. Oh look, there's lines in here. Like, I mean, of course, no figure is going to be absolutely, you know, animation perfect in all modes. It's functionally impossible. I think that a tiny gap like this is absolutely forgivable. So, but the figure looks really good. There's some die cast in there. The chest is die cast. There's some parts in the legs that are die cast. I think actually most of the legs. I think like this part of the leg and this part of the leg, and yeah, I think that primarily this thigh and the upper part of the shin is die cast. I was thinking that there might be die cast in the head, but there's not. Just that's the weight die cast. There's some functional die cast here, like these little armatures that hold the backpack on. A couple of things. The steering wheel, that's die cast right there. Makes the difference. Makes a huge difference, right? Yeah. Oh, totally. But yeah, she looks good. She looks really good, actually. This is in terms of aesthetics, I believe that this is definitely my favorite RC. Granted, the only other one has been the Toy World version. But the Toy World version, I don't know, like the plastic felt kind of iffy, kind of chalky, had a weird texture to it. Some of the points of the aesthetics were a little weird to me, and the alt mode was not even a real alt mode. That being said, this one comes with a belly button. Like, why does a robot need to have a belly button? Why does, I don't know. I mean, for that matter, why does a robot need to have shapely legs and boobs? I mean, I don't know. The idea of the idea of features that someone that in an organic life form would find attractive in an inorganic robot is just bizarre to me. The metaphysics of the sort of thing, just, I don't know. But anyhow, good molded details throughout, great paint apps, just this is a really solid offering, I think. In terms of accessories, she comes with this little handgun here, which, you know, big mix up. The big difference from how they're normally done. There's a slot on the front of the handle and a tab on the fingers, which makes it kind of an odd thing to install. She also comes with this Barbie rifle here, which installs the same way. You just stab it into that thing and then curl the hand around it. And I don't get why rifles are supposed to be pink. Maybe she had this one custom ordered or something like that. It doesn't go on her alt mode or anything like that, so it's not like designed to blend in with that. I don't know. She also comes with a series of alternate faces. Let me pull all these out. This is, by the way, my copy that's on loan to me from titanonetoys. And so this is his copy, not mine. And it came with these faces, and first and foremost, I'm positive that this one here is just straight up a duplicate. So, it's the exact same face. And then we got this one here, which has like bigger eyes and a smaller mouth, has more of an anime look to it. So maybe this is how she was in the movie, which was made by an American company, and maybe in the Japanese version of the later seasons, she had, I don't know. She's got herself a yelling face here, and she's got herself you know, I'm not even sure what this is supposed to represent. Yeah, but that's the face. And also a visor face. So she's got her shades on. And these can be swapped out by simply pulling on her. Maybe you can open up her head a bit. Pull this just straight off. Install the other one just straight on. And yeah, there's different heads. In terms of articulation, her head is kind of on a ball joint. It'll turn hardly anything at all. Rotate nicely. Look up, look down. There's a double joint system in there to give just a little more posability to her neck. Not just this ball joint, but there's a hinge in there as well. It's all pretty good. Ball joints on the shoulder won't windmill around wildly because of the backpack in here, but you know, it'll go all the way up, it'll go back a bit, it'll go out that far. Got a bicep swivel here. You have a double joint at the elbow, which allows for all the way the bend. She has a wrist swivel, but it's all the way up on her forearm. I forgot to mention earlier that the other accessory she comes with is a set of hands that are exactly identical to this, except they don't come with that peg in the hand. I haven't pulled them out of their little sandwich bag yet. She also comes with an alternate set of boobs, which is just more of a flat chest instead of this contoured one that we have here. No waist swivel, though you can construe that maybe she'll move a little bit this way. This is mostly due to there's a transformation hinge in here. I don't think that's really meant to be. I don't think that was intended to be a posability function. Legs will go forwards that much, go backwards that much. You have an upper thigh swivel. You have a single joint at the knee, but it has for a really deep bend. You have a swivel at the ankle. The ankle tilts back and forwards. Not really forward much, but back quite a lot. There's a ankle tilt here and a toe bend. And so you get a fair amount of posability. She poses pretty well. Also, these backpacks are on a series of little armatures. You can move them around. one of the things that was pointed out to me is that you can take this piece up here and kind of like wedge this pink part in between the parts of this white part. Geez, I'm saying part a whole lot. But you can kind of wedge it in there, kind of, and it kind of fits, kind of. It's not an intended thing, and it's super tenuous. And to be perfectly honest, I mean, how much of us are gonna like pick this up and like shake it like a rag doll anyhow? No, you're gonna stick it on your shelf, you're gonna pose it, and it's gonna stay there because it's working just fine. But yeah, it's a really good looking figure in this mode. I like it a lot. Let's get it transformed up. Oh, by the way, I wanted to point out one quick thing about swapping this thing out. So there are 4 screws that keep the boobs in place. You'll need to unscrew them all to pull this off. Plus there's a white bit in here, which I'm going to get to in the transformation. There's a white piece that will need to be transferred over to this other one as well. Seems like a lot of work, but you know what? If that's what drives your fancy, then that's just what you got to do, man. Let's start with the upper body, because this is where all of the difficulties and troubles lie. Let's get these elbows bent up. Make sure that you're bending it. There's these 2 joints in here. This upper one likes to move more easily. Make sure that this lower one gets bent all the way. We're going to get to that later. We're going to disconnect the head from this, and it comes out on this series of armatures. Basically, phase 1 of this transformation is just tearing everything apart. There's a couple tabs down here on the waist. We're going to pull them apart. And this is super floppy, so be prepared for that to move around a whole lot. You've got these 2 halves right here of what's going to become the front of the alt mode. You're going to separate them on the bottom, but then you're going to need to maneuver them around to the front. So they separate down here at the bottom. Oh wait, I need to disconnect the shoulders first. Hello. I know it's been a few weeks since this figure came out, and I've honestly been spending a significant portion of that just working with the transformation, trying to get it down. Also, I've been having other issues come up as well, but that's something completely aside. So, this will come around, and they'll squeeze past each other. Like so. There's one. Second one's the easy one. 2. Alright, so that's all tore apart. While we're at it, let's extend this waist joint here. Push these hips together. I think that these are probably going to flip back in at some point, but we'll pay attention to those for a moment here. We're going to come over here to what's the backpack section, and we're going to get this unfolded out. So we're going to unfold this. There's a super annoying thing about this figure. This is the thing actually that I dislike most about it, is that, so you've got this metal armature here, and it needs to pull past this combined white and gray piece here, and you have to just like bend it and force it. There's no other way. There's literally no other way to get it past. There's no sneaky mode. There's no clever function. There's no nothing. It's just, you just have to brute force it past. And on the way back in, you got to do that too. And it's annoying, and it sucks, and I don't like it. And I wish that they designed a better way to do it. So we've got this folded out. You'll notice that there's like half of an entire car folded up into there, which is pretty impressive. So we're going to take this part, we're going to fold this up. There's a double hinge in here. I'm going to fold this little white bit out. We're going to bend this antenna. We're going to get it past this little pink panel here. And the pink panel is going to fold in. And then this panel here is going to fold in. And we're going to tab this part. There's a peg here and a peg here and corresponding holes. So we got that all together, and this piece is now more or less solid. So now let's go over to the other side and get that taken care of as well. It's going to be the same thing. First thing you got to do is you got to frustratingly push this past the rest of it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I mean, the plastics here are all fairly flexible, so I'm not like super worried about it. But still, I don't like it. Clearance issues are my least favorite issues because I think that they can be solved. So we're going to take this. This is kind of on a double hinge here. Pull that out. And then this is on a single hinge down here. Rotate this around. You'll need to move that armature out of the way. Then we're going to take this, extend out this little white flap here. Peg these halves together. Make sure you've got this gray piece out, this pink flap folded in, and then this thing here gets folded in and pushed flush up against that. So now we got all this tore apart, and does it look like a car yet? Oh man, we're getting there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the legs. We're going to rotate the thighs 180 degrees. We're going to yank on the shin to extend that part out. And then we're going to yank on the thigh to extend that part out. We're going to fold this around. I like to bend this knee because we're going to get onto this a little bit later. Get this into position, bend the toe, turn the ankle. There's a panel here that needs to open up. And it doesn't matter particularly what order you do all that stuff in. You can open the panel, pull on the thigh, pull on the shin, rotate it, and then bend it, whichever you prefer. But now we are ready to reassemble this figure. Oh wait, there's one last thing we got to do. This panel right here, we're going to be holding this so that we're facing it. I got to make sure that in all the jumbled mess, you can see that this piece right here got back in the way. Let's just push that back out of the way. Yeah, I know this is confusing and blah, but this is how it is. It's confusing and blah. It's how fans toys work. So with these segments out of the way of this, you're going to take this here and you're going to push it through this gap all the way until it comes out the other side. And then you're going to pull it past the gap that you pulled it through. This is also another part of this toy that I really don't like, because it strikes me that they could have done a little bit better on it, and they never did. Come on. Come on. Oh crap. That didn't happen before. This toy, I swear to God. Alright, now let's start getting everything back together. So this white panel piece is on a little sliding hinge. You're going to slide it all the way like so. You're going to notice that you've got this white part here has got to go over these tabs. So make sure you get that over them. Push that into place. We're going to take this chest, and there's slots here, tabs here. Make sure you're pulling this white section out. This is the white section I mentioned earlier that you'd have to swap out if you were swapping out the chest. Make sure that's pulled out. And you're going to tab this in. Now with that in place, you can take, there's holes right here on the side of the chest. There's tabs right here on the sides of the front of the car. You can pick those into place. Now we're starting to get somewhere. Bend these out of the way however you need. How the F did that happen? I've got one bent this way and one bent the other way. I don't know. This thing is just... yeah. Alright, now they're both bent the same way. We're going to get the arms. The arms are going to go all the way in like so. And you're going to kind of rotate the biceps so that they tuck in like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start paying attention to the car shell, because we'll need to get this car shell in position to get the rest of it to go. I do also think that these parts are supposed to come up into this gap a little bit better, and I've never been able to get that to work satisfactorily, so I don't know. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to bend this armature. Keep in mind you've got like 3 parts to this. We're going to bend it like so, and we're going to push it in on top of this part. You've got this tab that comes on the underside here. There's also a tab on the top part here. We're going to kind of take this and angle it so that we snake this one up from underneath. Okay. And then we're going to rotate in the place to tab onto that hole right there. And it's not an easy thing to do. Keep in mind that you've also got a tab right here at my thumb. There, we get that all leveraged in. Same with the other side. Take this, push this armature so it's all down like that. You want to bring it around. You'll notice that this armature kind of is like looped around like that. This other one's going to end up just the same. So bring this in from the back, push that tab in. When you align it all, this tab will fall into place. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. You can take these and kind of just tab them together, starting to look like a car. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take these panels here on her back. We're going to open them up just kind of part way, because they're not going to go into anything quite yet. This is all going to connect in here. You've got a series of joints. You're just kind of going to connect it in so that you're going to line up. These hinges are going to fit into these spaces here. This is your next big goal. So just fit those in, and then you're going to extend up the toes so that the toes fit into this gap right here. Like that, and like that. You're going to take these, you'll notice that there's pegs here and there's holes in those gray sections. Tab those into there. And then last but not least, you're going to take, I like to rotate these so that they're facing the other way around. I'm not sure yet what's really the best way to do this, but this is the way that I found that worked best for me. Move her head so it looks all the way forward. Open up her skull, and sometimes her face pops off as you're cramming everything into place. And that is more or less it. Oh wait, there's one last thing. I should have probably done this later. If you notice, these wheels are on little sliders. Make sure they come all the way up and click. Let me pull out my different tool. I have used this medieval torture tool since like the very first video I've done. Pull that out. There's going to be a slight snap as you get them properly into position. And that's more or less it. Clearance on the other side of this car, I guess if you get everything like super perfect, actually barely works. If you get anything out of alignment even a little bit, which I'm sure I have, then it doesn't really fit really well. But yeah, that actually works out. Maybe, kind of. Whatever. It's a face. There is Rouge in her alternate mode, and you know what? The alt mode looks great. I think that it looks really good. It has, if you'll notice this, if you notice this Toy World / Zeta Toys, this is called the back of the car. That's important too. But yeah, I mean, it looks like it did in the cartoon. It looks really nice. I think that it's a fantastic alt mode. That's kind of typical of Fans Toys, is that the robot mode looks great, the alt mode looks great, the transformation is just a flippin' nightmare. This is no exception to that. So you've got your little steering wheel here, your little center console with the TV for watching soap operas while you're driving. You've got headlights done in clear plastic here. Good, you know, there's lots of good like white paint apps on here. White. Tail lights. These little pins are kind of abnormal, but you know, this is all required for the transformation. Like everything on here like looks really good. Like it works out really well. On the other side of the car, it's just yeah. But it's fantastic. It doesn't really roll that well. These wheels, like this one in particular, is super stiff. This one is fairly stiff. These ones are only a little bit stiff. They roll fairly well. This vehicle is not really made for rolling, but I mean, it's not like you're gonna be running it down Hot Wheels tracks or something like that. It's either gonna sit in this mode or it's gonna sit in the robot mode. Most likely it's gonna sit in the robot mode. I think that this looks really good. In terms of final thoughts on this thing, oh, by the way, there's no weapon storage anywhere. Unless you go like this. There you go, weapon storage. Right there. Well, if you're the driver, you want to have it so you can hold it, grab it if you need to. I think it looks really good in its alt mode, really good in its robot mode. If you watch this and this is what you need, like absolutely go for it. If you have an RC, if you need an RC for your Transformers the Movie Masterpiece style display, and you've been holding out, like this is the point to jump on it, because I think that this figure looks a lot better than the Zeta Toys version, and I think that I think that it looks fantastic. I think that it looks great in a lot of ways that the Zeta Toys figure didn't. Not the only switch being the alt mode. Oh God. But if you already have like the Toy World one, if you don't feel that you absolutely have to do this, it's because you really don't absolutely have to do it. If you're going to keep them in robot mode anyhow, then it's like the robot mode for this figure is better than the robot mode for Zeta Toys, in my opinion. But it's not so much better that it necessarily warrants like selling that figure and then going out and buying another, however much this thing costs, $80-100. I'm not even sure because I didn't buy this one. You know, I'm not sure that it necessarily warrants that unless you're like really looking for the perfect one for your display. This is the perfect one for your display. If you plan on having it in alt mode at all, yes, absolutely get rid of that old one and go for this one. But yeah, I mean, I recommend it. I recommend it, you know, moderately. But anyhow, this review has gone long enough. Everybody, thank you for watching. You guys are all fantastic. Everybody be good to each other and have a fantastic day. And I will talk to you later. See ya.